So I have a problem. I want to weatherproof my house, my windows especially. You know, I've been using that shrink wrap stuff, but I'm having problems where the double-sided tape's not sticking to my paint for whatever reason, even though I've cleaned it. And sometimes the tape just pops off and plastic gets kind of wonky. And my biggest issue is that I have windows like this. That is actually 4 windows. My house was built in like 1962. They're single pane windows. And to do them, you can see my front of my house has even more of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each one of those windows is like a pop-out, swing-out window, top hinged. So what looks like 2 windows here is actually 4. So I'm trying to find a way to weatherproof these. And I overheard a guy at Home Depot, so I just tried my first one. I'm going to show you what I'm doing. So if you have an old house and you want something that's actually a reusable solution, I'll show you how to do it. Okay, here we go. Okay, my first step in doing this is I went out and I bought this Build-A-Screen kit. This one's 60 inches. Each one of these windows in my house is the interior dimensions like 36 and then 24. Actually a little bigger than that. So this kit will do just about one of those windows. What I'm going to do is basically make a frame using this screen kit, and this is my giant mess of a garage here, and the shrink wrap insulation to use as a window insert. So let's get going. So before I start this, actually one of those kits will actually do 2 of my windows, but because each one of those is 60 inches long, they also come in lengths of 48 inches. But what I've got here is a long work table, which I'm going to need. I got my horses. I've got a smaller bench that I'm using to kind of store all my tools. The big tools you'll need here are tape measure, obviously, hacksaw, little screen roller tool, and scissors. And I found that even though I'm going to be using the screen spline to hold the shrink wrap in, it's still good to use the double-sided tape on them just to hold everything in place, because the screen wrap tends to like suck inside the window while you're pushing the spline in. So all right, we're good to go. I pulled out my pieces. My first step I'm going to do is pull the splines out of these things so I can use them later. Okay, you can see I pulled the splines out of the grooves of the screen kit, and I have them settled here. I'm just going to push them off to the side here with my scissors and other stuff. The next thing that they tell you to do is to measure your windows for this screen kit, and then subtract 1.5 inches. And that 1.5 inches is because you're going to be inserting these corner pieces, and those corner pieces add 3/4 inch each side to your frame. So I did some calculations. So my original window dimension was 24 3/4 by 38, and then I subtract that 1.5 inches. So I'm going to cut 23 1/4 and 36 1/4. And then I just wanted to have some extra play in there, so I subtracted another 1/16 inch. So my overall dimensions that I'm going to be cutting these things are, whoops, if we focus, 23 1/16 and 36 3/8. So here we go. So I made my first measurements at 23 1/16. This is for the short side of my windows. There they are. I'm just gonna clamp them up to my horses and use my soft metal cutting blade to cut these off. After that, I'll make my second measurement off of those at 36 3/8, and that should give me all 4 sides to build the frame. Here we go. Okay, so now I have my two long sides, top and bottom, and my short sides. And next step is to put in these joining corner pieces. So the instructions are to put these into the long side first and then join the short sides. We're gonna do that. This kit does come with two things. One, it comes with a pull handle, so you can pull the screen out. And the other piece is the spring-loaded things that you can attach to the top of the frame, like that, so you can pressure fit them in. I did that on my first one, and I'm not gonna do it on the second one. It made the thing too difficult to get in. And I'm just gonna seal the edges around the frame with probably some weather tape or other weather stripping material just to keep it in there for the winter. But I'm not gonna use these. You can use them, depends on your application, but let's put the corners in. So because I want the pull tab facing out, the spline side is actually gonna be facing into my room. Because the little pull tab, which goes here, kind of fits in this channel, and I want to be able to pull the thing out, make it easier. So I'm gonna there's like they kind of look the same, but there's one side that's finished and one side that's unfinished. So I'm gonna put the finished side actually facing out. Simple thing to do, just put it right into the channel. And then I use my trusty little rubber mallet here get that in the rest of the way, and that's what it ends up looking like. Same thing for the other side. That goes in, mallet. So anyway, I'll put the frame together, show you what it looks like. Okay, so you can see my frames all put together now. One thing I did screw up on the corner pieces because one side is actually etched with the spline groove. So you want to make sure that all the spline grooves are lined up and the edges are lined up. And then there's my frame, and now I'm good for the shrink wrap. So I'm ready to put the shrink wrap on, but before I do that, I spent probably an hour and a half perfecting the first one to trial and error. I went through a number of these little shrink wrap things because these edges are sharp. So you actually have the option of running, your double-sided tape all the way around here, and then you don't have to worry about, when you're pushing the spline in, the actual film being cut by this. Unfortunately, I don't have a ton of this double-sided tape, so I'm going to use the spline. I think it's a more permanent solution, and I can just store these over the winter when I'm done with them. But I am going to take one piece of double-sided tape and I'm going to put it along that top edge just to hold it in place, and I'm also going to put some on the sides, and that's going to keep the film from folding in. Okay, so I've got double-sided tape on the top, what I'm considering the top, and the two sides. Pretty much ready I'm going to lay it across the top widthwise, and then I'm going to follow it along the bottom edges. This way is going to do it. So you get plenty of overlap. I do about, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches. So I'm just going to lay that across the top flat, seal the tape. I'm going to stretch out the side here. I'm going to seal that side. Stretch out this side. And seal that side. And I'm just going to kind of let the bottom dangle and let it feed in as it feeds in with the spline. But I'm ready for my spline, and I'm ready for put my pull tab in. So this is going to be the trickiest part, because if you push too hard on this spline, you're going to tear this stuff. But people like the Frost King stuff that doesn't seem to be quite as durable as the 3M brand when you're doing this. So if you're going to do the spline piece, probably go something with a little thicker. But if you're just doing double-sided tape all the way around, use whatever. So I have my handy dandy little spline tool here, which is you feed the spline, which is that little rubbery piece there, through the spline tool, and then you put it in this, I usually start in the middle somewhere, that way I can overlap later and not have to end at a corner and worry about that gap. And then just kind of roll it in, again, not too hard because you don't want to cut this stuff. You just want it to seed in there so it makes a seal. And as you can see, but the actual wrap is pulling into the window while I'm doing this, which is why you want to give yourself a lot of overlap here. Do the corners, and I'm just going to go around the rest of the window like this. Okay, now comes the time for the pull tab. So the pull tab is just so I can get this thing in and out. It's optional. You don't have to put it in. If you're not worried about taking these things out, don't take them out. But that goes into the slot. The spline fits really tightly around it, so it's kind of a pain to do. That's why, tool has this little pointed end, and that's to do the corners, and when you get to little tough areas like this, and then you just continue going around with your spline. So I'm just kind of cut off the excess here, make sure I cut my film, push that end piece in a little bit. And I think I did okay. I don't think I cut the film anywhere. Everything's good. So basically, this is what I have. I have my film around this frame. Forgot to do that in. And we're good to firm this thing up. So I'm actually going to go ahead and trim around the edges first. I just go right around the frame. The edge of the frame. I don't get too close to the center because I don't have good luck doing that. I always end up cutting the film. So I'm just gonna start my cut, and then I'm gonna pull the film, and I'm gonna go right around the frame edge. I'm gonna do that all the way around. I honestly don't care if there's a little bit of overlap with the plastic hanging outside my window. We're good. Okay, so now I'm trimmed up. I'm ready to go ahead and hit it with the hairdryer. Woo! Okay, so there it is. Actually looks like a window. I got one spot that's a little loose down here. If you can see it, it's got. So if this was, if I just did the double-sided tape method, I'd be able to pull that down a little tighter and get that. But for some reason, that part right down there isn't getting tight, but the seal's pretty good. So what I'm going to do right now is I also bought this stuff called V-Seal leather strip. Basically looks like this. It's one side's got adhesive on it, the other side does not. Stick it V side out, so the sticky part will go on the frame of the window, and then this part faces your room. So when you push it into the opening of your window, the theory is that this should seal that gap. I'm probably going to do tape around anyway, just to make sure. But I'm going to run this around just to give it a little better seal in the window. Okay, that V-tape stuff's kind of being a pain in the ass. So it's not sticking to some of the frame. So I don't know if that just talks about the quality of the tape or what it is. So I'm just gonna do my best here with it. And then, like I said, I'm just gonna seal around the window anyway using weatherproof outdoor tape. And that should take care of the rest of that. Okay, I got all my sides with this V-tape on here, and let's go put it in the window, yay! Okay, so I'm back in the house. These are the windows I'm talking about. This is the inside view. So you can see that I've used some removable weatherproof caulking around here because we do like to flip these open in the spring or summer or whatever, whenever it's nice. But I wanted to seal these for the winter. They're garbage windows, single pane. But here is I'm gonna flip this around. Here is the frame I'm talking about. So I have this, I have the caulking on my finger. This is to open the window, push out, but I have this little lip right here. I know you're looking at this, but I have a screen that hinges on these hinges. Super old school, just like this guy right here on top. I took the screen off so I could put the new insulation in here. So let's give it a go. So hopefully I've measured everything right. I'll take my frame and drop it in. That spot right there. And move this scooping out of it. And then drop it right in. Looks like I've got a little bit of bone here, but overall, not too shabby a fit. Take a look. Spin this back around so you can see my new frame is in the window, right in the pocket. I put it in. There it is. My pull tab, so I can pull this thing out easily. And what I'll probably do is just use some weatherproof tape. There's that V tape right here, so it doesn't seal really good, but it is all around the corners, and we're good to go. Well, hopefully you found that informative and helpful, and if not, I'm sorry, you just wasted 20 minutes of your time. But anyway, now I got all these inserts that I can just pull out, store in my attic, and bring them out next winter and not have to worry about buying kit after kit, year after year, and worrying about tape and ruining my paint and all that other happy crap. So, all right, anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.